Please be aware, in this podcast series we talk about all areas of safeguarding, which some people may find upsetting. So please make sure you're okay listening to today's topic. Be mindful of those around you, such as children, that you might not want to listen in. Hi, I'm SSS Safeguarding Director Sam Preston.
And I'm former head teacher and content author Sarah Spinks.
Welcome back to Safeguarding Conversations, and today we're diving into the big changes in relationships, sex and health education, or RSHE, following the Department of Education's updated guidance, which has just been published at the time of recording, so that's July 2025.
That's right, and the 2025 guidance replaces the 2019 version. But, and this is important, it doesn't become compulsory until September 2026. And until then, schools must still follow the 2019 guidance, though this is very much the time to start preparing, I think, for the transition. Yeah. One of the most significant updates is around how we teach sex, gender and the law, and there's a really clear shift towards legal accuracy.
Exactly. So pupils now need to be taught what the law says about biological sex and gender reassignment, that gender reassignment is a protected characteristic under the Equality Act, and crucially that ideas like everyone has a gender identity should not be presented as fact.
And I think also the new guidance says that those visual aids that have become quite popular, like the gender-bread person, and I think just for clarity, the gender-bread person is an educational tool designed to explain the complexities of gender identity, gender expression, biological sex and sexual orientation, and it serves as a visual representation that breaks down gender into identifiable components, helping to clarify the differences and the interrelationships amongst those aspects of human identity. And this model that has been used to aim to teach gender as a social construct and encompasses more than traditional binary definitions. And the DFA are now saying they are discouraging anything that oversimplifies complex issues. And instead, it's about exploring diverse perspectives in a respectful, age-appropriate way.
Gosh, okay. And mental health, it's always been part of RSHE, but this guidance really strengthens it, doesn't it, Sarah?
It really does, yeah. So in primary, the focus is on helping children understand emotions and manage everyday worries. But in secondary, there's a new and very specific emphasis on suicide prevention.
Yeah, schools are advised to avoid graphic content and make sure lessons are delivered with input from mental health professionals. And I think staff confidence and training is going to be absolutely key here, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. The 2025 guidance also takes digital risks seriously. So there's now clear direction on teaching pupils about things like sextortion, deep fakes and AI-generated content, pornography and misogynistic online cultures, and even the rise of incel groups and online forums promoting hate.
Yeah, it's a big step forward, isn't it? Which is really welcomed. Schools, they're encouraged to teach their students how to recognise harmful content, safeguard their personal information, and challenge toxic online behaviour.
Which I think is really welcome. And we've talked about this for a long time, Sam.
Yeah.
And there's also talk about banning some topics before the age of 9, but that's not in the final guidance.
Right, okay. So instead, schools are trusted to use their professional judgment, I'm presuming.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing this is on topics like conception and birth, still recommended in years 5 and 6. But schools can adapt depending on pupil maturity.
Yeah, and parents still have that right to withdraw children from sex education, but not from relationships or health education. That's what it was before.
Okay, so let's talk inclusion. The guidance keeps the expectation that teaching must reflect the Equality Act.
Absolutely. And that includes learning about different families, like same-sex parents, understanding protected characteristics like sexual orientation and gender reassignment, and knowing how to recognise and challenge discrimination.
So it's not about promoting one lifestyle. It's about ensuring all pupils feel respected and represented.
Absolutely. And this part really stood out. Schools are now expected to teach pupils about the criminal offence of strangulation, even without visible injury, the image-based abuse, including revenge porn and upskirting, and exploitation, grooming and coercion.
So this might be covered through RSHE or maybe through wider safeguarding education. But what is clear, staff will need to be confident and they need to be very clear when delivering these topics.
Without a doubt, there'll be staff training implications without a doubt. And there's a really, much stronger push for transparency with parents. Schools must now keep their RSHE policy updated and visible on the website, share any teaching materials with parents, and avoid providers who use non-disclosure agreements to block access to their content.
I'm just going to jump in there, Sarah, because the sharing of any teaching materials with parents, that includes materials that are used by any external providers. I think I'm right in saying
absolutely.
That there's measures that schools must see those materials and lesson plans prior to delivery, and they must make those materials available for parents to view should they wish.
Absolutely.
So it's a big shift, isn't it? Parental engagement is no longer just good practice. This document is saying should, and as we know, when any statutory guidance comes out and says should, it means you do it unless you've got a very good reason not to. It's really an expectation.
Yeah, and I think this guidance acknowledges that certain areas like suicide prevention and gender are sensitive. So schools need to audit their staff training needs, as we've talked about, and use accurate, age-appropriate resources and ensure that, as we said before, that staff feel confident and supported in delivery.
Now, I know we'll be looking at the RSHE content in relation specifically to the safeguarding aspects of it, and we'll be producing training on that. But there is, am I right in thinking, I think there's government-funded training expected in 2026 on the whole of the RSHE curriculum, isn't there?
There is.
But schools do need to start planning now, and I think we do. I would just like to really make clear for listeners what those timeframes are. So from now to the 31st of August 2026, the required guidance to follow is the RSHE Guidance 2019. But from the 1st of September 2026, it will be the RSHE Guidance 2025. And it is confusing because you've got this guidance, but you've got a year before it becomes the required one. But I suppose the positive side is it gives some time to get prepared. So I would say use that time.
Yeah,
wisely.
so I think you're right. So stick with the 2019 guidance now, but absolutely begin preparing for the changes, because September 26 will come round quickly. And this year can be used for an awful lot of training implications. And we're not sure if the KCSIE's have been anything to go by, that government-funded training, when will it come in, in 2026? So get prepared now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose to wrap up, 5 practical steps. I would say review your current RSHE policy and curriculum. Update your schemes of work to include topics like AI risks and suicide prevention. Engage with parents and plan consultation and get those means of how you are going to share things with parents so that it's really understood. Obviously, train staff on sensitive topics, and that should be specialised training, just like any other aspect as we treat safeguarding. If we're going to be talking about suicide prevention, we really need that professional training for staff. And finally, audit your resources to ensure they're accurate and inclusive.
And we know these changes can feel like a lot, as always, but with early preparation and open dialogue, schools can make that transition smoothly if we start looking at it now.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening. And if you found today's episode helpful, please don't forget to subscribe and share. Thanks for listening.